the game to play my cards at all. Come fill me up, oh fill me now, 'cause I'm tired, I feel emptied out. Rain, rain, rain down on me again and again. Rain down on me. Oh, I believe I see it now. Oh, without the dark there is no light. Without the light there's only dark. I see it now. If there was a devil and a Lord, you know they'd be dancing arm in arm. Give me what you got, what you don't got. Keep it strong, waste your time. What you want, what you don't want. Keep it up, keep it, get it up, get it up. What you got, get all the back up and listen and swing your child. If it's all night. Rain, rain, rain down on me again and again. Rain down on me. Oh, come fill me up. Oh, when I'm dry, when I'm cold, when I'm emptied out, come fill me up. Oh, fill me now, 'cause I'm tired, I feel all used up. Oh, what you got, what you don't got. You've been starting, waste your time. What you want, yeah, what you don't want. Keep it light, keep up, not. What you got, no more violence. Come on, just living up my child. But it's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point of the show where nonsense seems to have consumed the building. I know from where you're looking you may think we have lost our way, but in fact, no. In fact, we're adventuring into regions that we've yet to follow ourselves. So please, indulge if you can, and join us as well we can. Keep your heart seed, and always let the band dancing forward. Thank you so much for coming.
It's your boy Conserviz 34. And we back. Almost time for the tour. Don't want Watchtower ending the show in the encore. Free Dodo. All right, thank you guys for joining tonight. We're going to do a little bit of a summer tour preview, even though this tour starts in the spring, which is always silly to me, because they're going to go almost 2 months before spring actually comes. But I digress. If you want to join us live, audio only, audio and video only, let us know in the chat. I want to hear from you guys. We want to know, what do you think the opener will be for the first show of this Dave Matthews Band tour? What do you want from this tour? What are some songs you want back? What are some songs you want to go away and never see the light of day in this tour? And what are some the special moments you're hoping for? So if you want to join us throughout this stream, say so in the chat. And what we're going to do during the stream is allow people time, if they want to actually come on. And I'm excited for what this tour has to store, but I also come with experience. This will be my 10th year of going to live shows, about 15 years as a fan, dating back to the LimeWire days. And we look forward to having you guys on. If you guys want to be on, if you're watching this replay and you want to be on the stream after you go to a show, put something in the comments and I'll connect with you. And the main goal this year is to continue the conversation at the show. Michael is going to Huntsville for the first time. Oh, no, going to Huntsville, first time the band has been there. And I did see a picture of the Orion Amphitheater. And that place looks beautiful out there in Huntsville. If we can just, I'll show you guys right now. This is what the theater is. Now, you may say this looks just like the Greek Theater in Berkeley, California. That's because this formation, this semicircle, 2-level setup goes back to the ancient Greek days where they had arts and entertainment, more specifically plays. And thus, there are these Greek-inspired amphitheaters that do exist in different parts of the world. If you have an upper-level seat, well, dance. Don't sit down because these are rough. This is a very, looks like a synthetic type of wood or a real wood or wood with a glaze coating on there. But the lower level looks phenomenal. Those look like world-class seats. The railings looks like very spanking new railings, and the stage looks beautiful. And Michael, if you want to come on after that show, let us know. I will be doing streams after every show. So that's going to be great. So that's the Orion Amphitheater. And there needs to be one thing that I hope for. I hope there's a way to really give upgrades or just build new amphitheaters in some of these cities. If you notice, the arenas across the country, for the most part, are being built and rebuilt because there's money that comes in from basketball and from, unfortunately taxpayers, but basketball and hockey and other entertainment warrants these upgrades. But that standalone amphitheaters owned by Live Nation, there's not enough money that comes in. They're half-year venues, really. So you see a lot of the amphitheaters across America are outdated. They're old. They've tried to jazz it up a little bit. They've given us some better screens, but even the screens in most of these amphitheaters are just out of date. The sound, the speakers that are not coming in from the band, the speakers on the lawn are out of date. The acoustics are just not there. So I do hope that we see more amphitheaters. The only problem again is that it's unlikely that these amphitheaters are massively rebuilt from Camden to Hartford to Mansfield. And also a lot of times it takes taxpayer money. But it would be nice to have some more amphitheaters here. But we're going to take a look at this tour and what to expect. We're going to look at what happened last year. That JTR, the JTR you guys heard, right? That JTR was from 6/29/13, and that was a summer tour warm-up for the 2 sets a year. They were showing that 2013 performance in 2014. A fun fact about JTR, obviously it's played when it rains nowadays, right? Typically, when it rains, there's things to be moved. The last time that JTR was played in the Pacific time zone, the last time it was in the Pacific time zone was in 2006 at the Gorge. 9/3/2006, JTR was played at the Gorge at the 7 spot. This song has not been played in the Pacific time zone since that date. A little fun fact that I found some years ago. And as of recently, it hadn't been played in the Central time zone until an Iowa show and a Texas show. I believe what 5/18 is that the one? That's Dallas. So 5/18/2019. And I think this is Des Moines. Is this or Elkhorn? It's played 7/6/19. So really before 2019, it had been played in the Central time zone for some time. It had been some time. Now, obviously, this song has not been played. It wasn't played between 14 and 17. Wasn't played in 2011 and 2012. I caught my first one 6/7/2013 here with a number 34 tees. And JTR was played 3 times last year in 2021. So here's what we had last year. Last year, we saw a couple of things come back. And they didn't really have to, it wasn't necessarily the songs, it was specific parts of songs that had been missing for a long, long time, or were not consistent for a long, long time. So if we go back to last year, yes, Michael says Iowa had a great show. Des Moines, Iowa had a wonderful show. And that was a show. Before that show, there was some complaining of the set list. And then in Des Moines, Iowa got that show, and it just kind of really was like, okay, this band is listening to feedback that we want better shows. And they put on a great show. We had a 41 opener. A lot of people thought Hello Again would open. I hope it didn't. It did not. We had Gray Street with the third verse. Now, during the pandemic, Dave played it with the third verse, but they had not been played live with the third verse since 12/16/2002. Right? So that was the first landmark that we saw off the bat. Gray Street with the third verse. We also saw Warehouse start to get the woos back. Now, not every night, but the more often than not, you got the Warehouse woos back. These two changes really showed us the power of just minor adjustments and how they make things better. These things weren't broke, but the band over the decades fixed them to make them worse, and then they turned them around to make them better. We had song debuts for songs like Walk Around the Moon, First time played live, Singing from the Windows, first time played live. We had a song called The Only Thing that came on for a little bit. We had The Ocean in the Butterfly that was starting to be played live. And we had Madman's Eyes. These were songs that to me were superior as a package than some of the Come Tomorrow songs that we actually physically started to get a lot of play of around 2016 to 2018. Now, I think Virginia and the Rain's amazing. I think Black and Bluebird's amazing. But when you take Samurai Cop and That Girl Is You and She, they kind of counterbalance each other, in my opinion. The songs that we heard live that were new songs to me were really, really great songs. So that's one interesting observation that I noticed from there. Were they all the best song ever? No. But these were pretty good songs. Speaking of that, shout out to Eric. He's a friend of the show here. He's a friend on Twitter. Eric made a post in the Ants Marching forums. I don't post forums comments here because it's a private forum. You can join it, antsmarching.org. But there's a ranking system that I actually agree with from Eric. This ranking system had the following. Eric listened to all the songs again, and he said that Madman's Eyes and Walk Around the Moon are the only two that he hopes don't disappear from a future release or from setlist. Below that is a tier, a tiered song, The Ocean and the Butterfly, which is a really nice studio track, but it wouldn't be a travesty if it didn't make it. The Only Thing had slipped his eyes, and he's kind of hoping it falls away. Maybe had it been slotted or been a lead release, who knows? The other two Dave solo songs, Singing from the Windows and Something to Tell My Baby, those songs do not belong on an album, and they don't fit. But I kind of agree with this as far as what I would like to see in rotation. Although The Only Thing could move up the charts with more plays. But I think Madman's Eyes and Walk Around the Moon are the best songs. They are the best songs that were premiered live last year. And I hope that they do stay around. Ocean and the Butterfly, I could take it or leave it, but I actually did enjoy the Stefan-less and Carter-less version of it at the Gorge. It was better than actually I'd heard it. Obviously, Dave played it in during the pandemic. And I was like, I don't know about this song. Then I heard it live and I thought it was like amazing. And again, you have those Dave solo songs. I could take it or leave it. I really don't need those songs live. But Madman's Eyes and Walk Around the Moon to me are the top. But Madman's Eyes is the best song. That is, if I had to choose one song to keep on the album, one song to keep for the live stuff, I'm talking about the album that's allegedly going to be coming out at some point this year or next year. I think Madman's Eyes is the best one from that. We also saw Sweet. We saw a song that was made better by having a more quieter, beautiful jam at the end, using Buddy on the keys, and Tim playing guitar with much more awareness of his surroundings. I do expect another song to be made better by this band. We've seen Raven become more funkier. We've seen Lying in the Hands of God, aka Lit Hog. Shout out to all my Wednesday night driving friends. Lit Hog. You guys know what I'm talking about. And we've seen just minor tweaks to certain songs with Buddy Strong, which, by the way, there's no need for the Lovely Ladies to come back because Buddy Strong can do anything they would be able to do on a soul level without going too far. That's why Buddy Strong is awesome. Lovely Ladies, talented singers, they go too far sometimes. too far. They do some little bit of extra. And I come from the Black gospel church, the Black Baptist church. And I know how to keep a little bit of extra praise in a song. But that doesn't work in B. Okay, so Buddy Strong is amazing, and he does what the Lovely Ladies do without the negative parts of the Lovely Ladies. Now we saw Sweet become remixed. What about, don't say that. They're not, don't talk about the ugly. We're not going to call them the ugly ladies, okay? But we did see Sweet become a remix song. We also saw some great songs come back that are rare, like You Never Know. You Never Know was a song that it had came back a couple of times, but we saw that really come back in a higher frequency. We also saw Dave play it solo at the Gorge, which was beautiful. Right? We saw some covers as the band faced some challenges at the Gorge where they didn't have the full band, but we saw a Brown Sugar / BITCH / Satisfaction little tribute to the Stones, which I was fine with, and it also was not played that frequently. So I thought it was awesome. Right? I thought it was awesome that it got a little bit of a tribute, but that was it. It did not get overplayed. So we have these things that we saw last year. And here's what we have to, here's where we're at. We're at we're very close to the start of this tour. And there's a couple of things that I think are going to be critical storylines for this year. The first thing, we still have show delays due to COVID, or C-19, I'll say C-19. And we all need to be aware of this, and we all need to hope for the best, but realize that there is this challenge that is still there. Willie Nelson just postponed the show. Chris Stapleton had some issues. John Mayer had multiple times where this impacted him. And there are some other acts in the last month or so that have had tours postponed, shows have been canceled due to C-19. Just be aware of this, because it's been some time since we've had to think about this if you have not gone on winter tours. And even with winter tours, even if you went to something in December, that's so long ago. It's almost 6 months from some of those December shows that were postponed or canceled. So just be aware that that is a reality. That is a reality, that this thing could still impact the band. So just be aware and be ready if that happens. The other thing that's looming for this tour is there are rumblings that there will be an album at some point. And then there are rumblings that are starting to say, hey, well, you remember how we had all these leads about an album? We're going to have this spring tour to promote an album. Things are not going to be announced right away until at least the tour gets a little bit of legs underneath it. So this means we could hear more new songs this year. We could see some songs, like we just mentioned, that go away. Windows could die down a little bit. Something to Tell My Baby could come up a little bit. The Only Thing, maybe it's played more. Maybe The Only Thing goes away forever. It's possible The Only Thing does go away forever. It was hardly played. It was hardly tested. We've seen songs like A Dream So Real get played for a little bit and then go away. Now, A Dream So Real is much better than The Only Thing, even though they're both good. So I don't hate either song. But we've seen songs get road tested for a little bit. That's it. Plastic Girl, Be Yourself. These are songs that were tested for a little bit, like The Only Thing, and they went away. So be wary, certain songs will go away. I believe my prediction for opener I believe that they are going to start this tour with One Sweet World. Last tour they opened with number 41. That was the first summer tour performance of a song with the full Dave Matthews Band. Right? 2020 is a unique year, but even in 2020, they opened with Granny. Right? 2019, they played in Europe, the full band that is. They opened with Don't Drink the Water, but that was not the summer tour. When we go to the summer tour in Pensacola, Florida, they opened with One Sweet World. That is my pick for 2022. I believe they were going to open with One Sweet World. I say that making a pick, calling my shot. It's possible that may not be the opener. I do not have an overwhelming confidence that that's for sure, without a doubt, going to be the opener. But I do think it's going to be something simple. I don't think we're going to get something crazy. Now, in 2018, we had Come Tomorrow, right? Come Tomorrow was debuted. The song debut of Come Tomorrow was May 18th, 2018 in Houston metropolitan area at the Woodlands, Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. And in 2016, that is, 2016, we started at JPJ. Now, you can argue this is not a spring tour. This was a benefit show that actually took place on May 7th, 2016. It's May 7th, 2022. Right? They started with the song that Jane liked. So I don't think it's going to be something crazy. The history of this recent band has shown, outside of Come Tomorrow being debuted, which still is a subpar song, not even mediocre. Come Tomorrow is a horrible song. And the reason I say that is because of the songwriting is very subpar. It should have had more time. The message should have been executed better. Great message, horrible song. The melody is pretty boring and mundane. Cool little unique tuning, but boring. Okay, so David Klein says, seems like a lot of people were shut out both nights of SPAC this year through the warehouse. Was going to go for the first time, but struck out. Any tips on getting SPAC ticks? So first off, it seems like every year people realize this. SPAC has always shut out thousands of people from the warehouse request period. It is the hardest ticket to get on the tour. And I say this because I've literally only got 3 total nights through the warehouse since 2015 when I officially became a member. Before that, I just didn't I knew I wanted to go to SPAC, but I just never had joined the warehouse till 2015. Because before 2015, I was able to get very cheap tickets on StubHub, or ticket drops on Ticketmaster with much higher luck than before they started shutting down these 2-night stands like Hartford and Mansfield down to 1. So what I'll say, David, is first and foremost, this happens every year. People complain every year like they know it doesn't happen. SPAC is the Super Bowl of this tour as far as ticket availability. You could argue that this show's better than SPAC, that show's better than SPAC. The Gorge, yes, the Gorge. Listen, if I had to choose between SPAC and the Gorge, all expense paid trip, I would choose the Gorge, but the Gorge always has tickets. So just a quick breakdown. Why is SPAC so hard to get? First and foremost, the lawn sucks. So nobody really wants to be on the lawn per se. Some people that don't have the financial ability, and this is not a knock on them because that could easily have been me, right? That was me from 2012 to 2014 at least. I couldn't afford a seat at SPAC unless someone gave me a face value seat. But most people, like, the point is the lawn is not desirable. You cannot even see the stage from most of the lawn. You're looking at a screen. The upper deck blocks any view. So there's only about 3,000 seats at SPAC, 3,000 physical seats at SPAC. And then the other thing is SPAC is a venue that has performance arts. They have ballet, they have symphonies, they have other art type shows that are not necessarily the most popular thing for every single show because they do a bunch of different stuff. So because of that, what they do is they say, hey, we have these pop shows or popular shows. If people donate to the arts through season tickets to everything at SPAC, they donate on different tiers of levels, they will be guaranteed tickets to any show for that year. So if you donate $1,000 or $500 or whatever, there's different tiers, and those people are able to get tickets before they even are handed out to the warehouse or Ticketmaster. Meaning, before any tickets are available to the public, hundreds of them are already given to people who donate to fund the arts, which I actually believe in. I believe that the art should be funded, and I actually do admire, even though some of those tickets are flipped for a lot of money, they do support the arts, and the arts are dying in this country because it's not affordable, right? So anyway, I said that to say that you have a venue that only has a couple thousand physical seats, and every seat is amazing. You also have one of the highest concentrations of Dave Matthews Band fans in the country, if not the highest. There were thousands upon thousands of Dave Matthews Band fans that are within a 2-hour drive of SPAC, Western Massachusetts. Oh, no, there's 5,000. Sorry, there's 5,103 seats. There's 5,103 seats. But in comparison, most amphitheaters have about 6,000 to 7,000 physical seats. So they have about 1,000 less seats than most amphitheaters have. Like Hartford has about 7,500. So I say all that to say that because of all that, before tickets go on sale, because of the concentration of fans within a 2-hour drive of the venue, it is a hard ticket to get. And then every year you have tons of people that want to fly to see what SPAC is all about, or drive to see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours. You're not going to get a lot of people driving to Austin. That's one of the things we need to bring up too. While we're talking about SPAC, so before we talk about that, let me give you some tips. So some tips, you really just have to wait it out. Closer to the event time, you'll see some night 1 tickets pop up on the boards. Night 2, sometimes you have to go into the lots, and the lots will have tickets. It's the craziest thing you'll see, but I've heard stories of people getting SPAC warehouse tickets in the lot. They're just like, if you show up that day, buy a lawn ticket, or just show up without anything and say, look, worst case, I'll just stand in the lawn. It's gonna suck, but hey, I want to try to get something special. There are people that do sell warehouse tickets. You have to walk around, make friends, and you will find some. But really, SPAC is one of those things where you have to wait till close to the event. Night 1 tickets pop up on the warehouse boards the week of the show. Night 2 is going to be a lot harder, but tickets will pop up. You may have to pay over face value. Some people say, don't pay over face. Don't feed the brokers. Listen, if there's one show that you should pay over face value for, if you can get it for $50 or $60 over face value, it's SPAC. You will not regret it. But that brings up another thing. And again, with this tour, you are going to have a lot of people that are traveling. And James says, 5,000 seats. Sellout is 25,000 total at SPAC. Tips spot on. A lot of huge tailgate parties, lots of new friends made. Yeah. And with SPAC, it hasn't sold out really in recent history, because because you're never it's going to be hard to get a full lawn at SPAC. No violin. The band is older. It's going to really have to be like the final SPAC show will probably sell out if they announce a final tour. And I hope the band can go out on their own terms. I hope there's not a tragedy or something sudden, and we're able to enjoy a final whenever that is. But okay, so we brought that up. But we talk about SPAC. This tour is going to have feast and famine as far as what people are trying to go to. Sure, there are going to be people that travel to every single show, but there are going to be a lot of shows that there's just going to be tickets everywhere. You may have tickets and you may not be able to go to a show, and you're not going to be able to sell your ticket for face value. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to sell it for face value because the demand is not there. The demand's not there, and it is what it is. So you may have to eat your ticket, you may have to sell it for a little bit less. And I want to take a look because this is where I want to kind of show you guys a little bit of a breakdown of what I'm talking about. So, for instance, these first tour stops in Texas, right? The Moody Center in Austin, the Woodlands, and Dos Equis Pavilion. These shows are going to have some fans who are traveling because they want to go to the first shows. But you're still going to have upper level seats at the Moody Center. You're still going to have uppers in the Pavilion at the Woodlands and Dallas that are going to be available. And you may be able to find pit tickets the week of for these two shows at face. You may have some lowers at face because even though people are traveling, a lot of people like me are saying, that's cute. Dallas, Woodlands, Austin, that's cute. Moody Center, brand new stadium, brand new arena funded by some UT, that's University of Texas and Austin donor money. Very amazing venue, right? I'm happy for my friends who are going. I don't care about going to no Austin, Texas. I want to go to SPAC. I want to go to Alpine. I want to go to Deer Creek. So what you have is you're going to have these Texas shows will have some demand. The demand will sharply drop for Brandon, Mississippi. That's probably going to be one of the easiest shows to get a pit ticket to at face value. Brandon, Mississippi. If you want to be in the pit, you want a pit experience, Brandon, Mississippi. Orion Amphitheater is going to be interesting. We have people that are like Michael and like my friend John who are excited. They're excited to go to these shows because they live in the South. Right? But most people are not going to Huntsville. It's going to be a beautiful venue. If you get a lower level seat, you are in for a treat. You then have Charlotte and Atlanta. These are cities that used to have much bigger DMB fan bases. Atlanta was one of the biggest Southern draws in the tour. Not so much anymore. There's going to be plenty of tickets available for Lakewood and for Charlotte closer to the event time. Now, Tampa could be hit or miss, but Tampa will still be, it'll have a little demand because Tampa has some great shows. But West Palm Beach, Labor Day weekend, there's still tickets available. People are selling these tickets already. There's going to be demand. Charleston shows are going to have, because it's two shows, you're going to be able to find tickets the week of. The Jacksonville shows, very intimate venue. One of the nights sold out, but you'll be able to find tickets. If you want tickets to Daily Space, you'll find them. Blossom, same thing. You'll be able to find tickets, but this is a beautiful venue. But again, with the prices going up, you're not going to have many people traveling to Blossom. Bristol, same thing. Easy tickets. Now you get to Mansfield and Hartford weekend. And I still believe there'll be tickets, but this is going to be a big stop because these are the first Northeast shows, especially Hartford Saturday night. I will be there. Your boy will be, come say what up. There's going to be a little bit more raised demand because they're leaving the South and they're going up north. Something in the Water is going to be an odd festival for Dave Matthews Band fans who do not have eclectic taste. I do have eclectic taste. I actually know a lot of the lineup. I listen to a lot of the lineup because I am a hip hop and R&B fan. I listen to the new stuff and the old stuff. That's just going to be a festival. If you want to go, you'll probably be able to find something. You got Pine Knob and Toronto. Toronto may have some demand because they haven't been there in a minute, especially with C19. I do hope conditions are favorable so they can play that show. But Pine Knob, you'll be able to find tickets. Now, Deer Creek, this is going to be the first real 2-night stand where you'll be able to find tickets in the uppers, but the lowers are going to be harder to find. Jones Beach, middle of the week, you'll be able to, if you want it, you can find it. May not, but New York City has, New York metropolitan area, this is Long Island, going to have expensive prices sometimes for the closer seats because it's New York, it's Long Island. Jersey, you'll be able to find tickets. Alpine, you come up to Alpine and you will have some, you'll be able to find tickets. A lot of the tickets now are in the back. You have to be careful with some of these polls, but there's a lot of uppers available for Alpine. Buy at your own risk. If you do searches, Alpine seating chart, good seats, bad seats, Alpine, you'll be able to see some information from some Phish fans, some DMB fans, and some Dead & Co fans, Grateful Dead fans that have shared experiences. If you just look up Alpine seating, right? SPAC, again, the hardest 2 tickets of the tour. Guilford, New Hampshire, you'll be able to find tickets. We're not going to talk too much about Guilford because a lot of people I know don't want the great news of Guilford being spread. Camden, I believe, now here's the thing with Camden. Camden is going to be a great stop. It's going to be a great stop. Camden is going to be a great stop, but the thing that kind of turns Camden off for me is that you have C-Mac the next night. His 3 straight nights of singing. Camden night 2 is going to get some energy at the beginning, and then at the end of that show, Dave's going to kind of rest his voice. That's what I believe. I saw Dave at SPAC Night 2, 2018, and after that night, he went to Canada for a festival. You could tell they did an amazing show, but the encore was toned down. Even with 2-step, it was more of a jam than a vocal party because he had a show the next day. Bethel Woods is going to be an easy ticket to get because it's in the middle of, you had C-Mac here, you got Raleigh here. Raleigh should be an easy ticket. The hardest thing about Raleigh is actually buying a house. Raleigh-Durham area, housing prices are going up. I got family down there, so I know. It's a very fast-growing metro area. It's been growing for some decades, but now it is just, it's huge. Virginia Beach, I mean, you're gonna get some people down there. Dave's home state isn't as big as the North. It's Virginia is their home, but if they're not in Seaville, like Virginia Beach will get a good crowd, but I mean, you'll still be able to find tickets. Tahoe, you should be able to find tickets. It's out west. Gorge is the Gorge. If you can afford to get a hotel, you will find plenty of pit tickets. You will find plenty of stuff at the campgrounds. If you're camping, make friends. You'll find tickets. If you're not camping, get down there 2 hours early, 3 hours early, and make friends. People are always selling tickets. Check out the warehouse boards. The people will meet you in the parking lot in a public safe area with the warehouse ticket. Just also see how long they've been on the warehouse boards. If you do check the warehouse boards. One thing I just want to really say real quick. David says, thanks, Justin. Not sure if I can get the time off of work this year. Elected to go to Raleigh when I couldn't get SPAC warehouse tickets. I'll try to go next year and we'll be undeterred. Here's the thing about SPAC. Keep trying every year. Even if you literally cannot make the show, your SPAC Night 2 tickets, if you get pavilion seats, will sell. From the last row of the upper deck to the front row, to the pit. So what I would advise, David, every year request SPAC Night 1 and Night 2. And I know I'm giving away a little bit of game, but that's what I do. I pretty much request it every year. And again, 3 nights, SPAC Night 2 this year, SPAC Night 2 2018, and Dave and Tim SPAC Night 1 2017 are the 3 times I got confirmed. Every other time I've gotten denied. But I've just said, you know what? If I get denied, I'm not going to go. So that it is what it is. And I live 2 hours away. So, that's just what I do. But even if you live far away, just request SPAC, right? Request it. Doesn't hurt. If you get denied, you get denied. But there are other things you can do. If you don't have the financial means this year, or you don't have the time off, don't even worry about, I won't say that, but you can keep looking. So the Gorge, you'll find tickets. Fiddlers, these shows didn't sell out, but these are popular shows and they have sold well. They're actually the Fiddlers by percentage points is the one of the best selling. It actually is the best selling amphitheater or show on the West Coast. Like I know it's Mountain Time Zone, but out in the Mountain and Pacific time zones, anything out past the Mississippi River, Fiddlers is actually the best selling percentage wise of tickets. Colorado has been a great hub of music. It's been a hub of the green stuff that you can do legally down there. The green tree, right? Dave wants to plant the trees so you guys can pick them up and smoke some trees, right? um, so David says, and I'm gonna explain this, David. This is a good one. Set lists never seem good at Virginia Beach or Bristol. I don't get it. VA is their home state. The best thing that Dave Matthews Band does for the live show, they play to their base. Virginia fans, no disrespect to Virginia fans, Bristol and Virginia Beach. My dad was born in the 757 Portsmouth, Virginia. So I got family down there. Dave Matthews Band didn't really get big in Virginia. It got big in the East Coast. It got big out in LA. It got big in the Midwest, Chicago. DMB's best pockets of fans outside of take away LA and all that is the colder climates, right? Because every summer when there's actually a couple of months of warm weather, DMB just hit different. DMB played frats in the South for some time, right? But in the Mid-Atlantic. But their biggest pulls are in the Northeast, in the northern Mid-Atlantic states, and in the Midwest, Chicago, Indianapolis, right? Parts of Missouri, right? Have over the years been very, DMB friendly. So the reason the set lists are not good is because of the crowd that goes. Nobody says, now people will go to Charlottesville. That's why Charlottesville gets great sets, because fans literally travel out there and they can sing Jimmy Thing. They could sing The Last Stop. They could do what the crowds that go to Seville are diehard. There were not that many people in Seville that are DMB diehards. No, people fly in and drive in the middle of a winter storm through the mountains just to see Dave. So Seville has a home. That's their home. But Virginia is a tale of different regions. And I've seen this because I've literally spent time in the in the Bristol area and in the Virginia Beach area. Bristol, Virginia, right? I used to spend summers in Maryland, in Southern Maryland. I've spent time in Northern Virginia, right? I've spent time in the Tidewater area of Virginia Beach. You don't see a lot of DMB stuff. So that is why you get those kind of mediocre sets. I gotta give DMB credit. They play to their base. They play to who is there to see them.
Convict music.
They play to the whoever is showing up. They know Madison Square Garden, they better put on a show. SPAC, they better put on a show. Deer Creek, they better put on a show.
Music.
Right? But they know that sometimes Charlotte is not going to be a crowd that's going to want certain things. Now, they'll play some special stuff in Charlotte. They'll play some cool stuff in Raleigh. Like they knew last year that all the fans were going to be flying to Raleigh, and they played some special stuff there. But to this year's Raleigh show, they may get a couple of deep cuts, but it's going to be some cookie cutter stuff, and that's okay because they're playing towards the overall base, right? Anyway, let's continue. Phoenix, you're probably going to get Phoenix. You can get tickets to. Again, the hardest thing with Phoenix is finding an affordable house, and again, I know people out there. Chula Vista and Mountain View, it depends, but these are one-night stands. So you're going to get, again, you probably can find tickets. Now, the LA shows are interesting. The face value of the LA tickets is more expensive in LA, but that's with anything in LA. LA is expensive. A Dodger ticket's going to be more expensive than a Kansas City Royals ticket. A Lakers ticket is going to be more expensive than a Milwaukee Bucks ticket, and the Bucks are the defending champions. LA just it's going to be there are tickets available. Just be willing to pay the LA price. And again, if you're flying into there, just know that obviously traffic is crazy out there. You want to try to be as close to the venue as possible, and you may have to figure out getting to the venue a couple hours. I would say 3 to 4 hours. Getting in the area of the venue 3 to 4 hours before the show because of traffic. But you'll be able to find tickets. You will be able to find tickets. Sound on Sound Festival. You can buy tickets on the festival. This will be easy. I actually have a single day ticket. You said DMB sometimes plays music. Yeah, I'm going to Dave and Tim because Dave and Tim can play whatever they want. Ron from Colorado. I know you were talking about. Hey, Amy. Amy, thank you so much for being on. Great to see you. But I know you were talking about how Dave and Tim just put you in a good mood no matter what you're going through. And that's exactly how I feel. They keep me calm, as you said on Twitter this morning, and they keep me happy at the same time. That's why I'm going to this festival. Because no matter what Dave and Tim plays, it makes me happy. The full band festival sets, they don't make me that happy. Now, if I get a free ticket to a Dave Matthews Band festival, I probably will go. But I'm not paying for lodging and hotel to be in the middle of a GA area that I have to pay the full festival price for, even if it's a single day ticket. That's why I'm going to Dave and Tim, which is in my home state, and that's why I'm not going to any other festival DMB is doing. I'm not going to something in the world. And I love hip hop. I love R&B. I know those artists. Okay. I talked about Phoenix. Yeah, because again, the hardest thing about Phoenix is finding an affordable place to live and finding water, because Phoenix is running out of water. They are sucking up the Colorado River to the point where sometimes it doesn't even reach the Pacific Ocean. And that's not an environmentalist thing. That's the reality. It's not like, oh, climate change. It doesn't matter if you believe in climate change or not. Arizona is running out of water. A lot of the water is being used in like computer chip plants down there. It's a very big hub for computer chip plants, and they have some other stuff that there's other factories that require water, and then the general population, which is growing year over year in Arizona, they're running out of water. So don't drink the water, because there probably won't be any left if you keep drinking the water down in Arizona. All right, is that enough time, Justin? No, I was kidding. Yeah, 45-minute bio. I hope that goes away. I hope the 2-hour Jimmy things go away. Apparently, they're only 15 minutes. It feels like 2 hours. So, does anyone want to come on? We're gonna put the link up. If anyone wants to come on, let's see. If anyone wants to come on and talk about what you're expecting, Arizona is outdoors. There's no, if you guys want to come on, that's the link right there in the chat. What I will say is I do want a couple of songs to get reduced. I don't think this is going to happen, but Don't Drink the Water needs to be reduced significantly. I know people like it. I know, and that's probably why I won't go away, because it does get the crowd going. It just doesn't get me going, and I know some people agree. Another song, Jimmy Thing, needs to be reduced. It's a fun song, but it's too long. The best Jimmy, a really good Jimmy Thing should only be about 9 minutes. We don't need all of the different playing and solo. Like, there's certain songs that it works in, but it is like I don't know. Louisiana Bayou needs to go away. Amy, it's going to be 90 in Iowa tomorrow? Wow. Justin says, go on camera. If you guys can't see in the chat, the link is there. Jimmy should have been retired after 9/24. Talk about 9/24/21. Yeah, if anyone wants to come on the link, I'll put the link in the chat again. If you guys want to come on, we'll talk to you. What do you think your opener is? Justin's scared to go on camera. Justin, it can be audio only. You don't have to come on camera. You can be audio only. The link will give you an option to you can turn the camera off and just go audio only. Yeah, Amy was on. Amy was on a little bit of time ago. Oh, all right. So we got Typical Times. We're gonna bring on Ron from Colorado, aka Typical Times. Give me 1 second. I need to mute my computer screen because sometimes it echoes. All right. Ron, are you there?
Can you see me?
No, it's just a black abyss.
What's up? I'm listening.
So we're asking, we want to know some things as far as what you want. So first, let's start off with the opener. What do you think the opener is going to be in Austin?
Come tomorrow.
Okay. Any insight, or are you just kind of taking a guess there?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a good, easy kind of like warm-up song, and it's kind of fun, and it's a good song you can play with the crowd talking and people still messing around and stuff and getting ready.
Okay. And they did do that in Texas a couple years ago. It is also a song that brings hope, and there's a lot of things going on in the world. So
Why can't you see me? I want to see me. Can you see me?
Nope, it's still black.
Oh man, that's crazy. You hacking my phone, man? Is this some kind of cyber attack?
I wish I was that good where I could hack
my credit card's running up.
Let's just say I would get tickets to SPAC every year if I had abilities to. You see me in the pit both nights. How did Concert Biz 34 get pit tickets every show?
Yeah.
No.
I'm gonna start wearing a shirt that says press, and I'm gonna carry a camera with me just so you can let me in.
That is smart, folks. That's tips for the road. Wear a press shirt.
Camera team 2, camera team 3. I'll be at the gorge. We can coordinate shirts.
All right. So, what? It doesn't have to be a song, but what if you could have anything for this tour? What's one thing that you would hope to see for this tour?
Song-wise?
Just whatever. Song, guest.
Okay, yeah. I want to see what the set list is like when Black Pumas come out with Dave. I want to see what they're going to do there. I wonder if they're going to play some Black Puma tunes, and Dave jumps on it, or if they're going to jump into something, or if they're just going to screw it all up. There's a good chance there, though, for something.
Okay. Now, are you talking about the gorge? Or are you talking about sound on sound?
I'm just talking about that gorge. That I really like the Black Pumas, and
oh yeah,
I'm saying I can't name none of their songs, but just when you hear them, they got their own unique tone and everything, man. They're great. And I'm wondering how that's going to mix. What kind of songs? I haven't really got an answer yet. I'm just wondering what kind of songs you think those two styles will come together on.
Yeah, that's a good question. And just so you guys know, there's 2 opportunities for the Black Pumas to collab with Dave Matthews.
Okay.
The first one is at the Gorge, where night 3 they will be one of the openers. So Dave could come on a song. They had a collaboration at the festival last year. I believe, was that Railbird? I think it was Railbird that they had. But they could now. There is a song. Their most popular song is Colors.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll do that song because that's one where I think they want they want to have their moment as an opener, say this is our official song. I think Dave would come on a more happier or a fun song. I have to listen back to their catalog. I listened through their album like 3 or 4 times back in 2020 when I discovered them.
I almost want to say Jimmy thing. as much as
Oh,
we've been talking
for
about it.
Dave, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying the Dave and Black Puma mesh. I don't. Then the colors, that's like you're saying there. That's kind of the only one I know.
Right. I don't think
Oh.
they'll be on that one because that's got to be their moment to say this is our
That-
hit.
Yeah, that's
Without
too
Dave.
unique of a sound, really.
Right.
That I.
Now, the one thing I'll say is Black Pumas is an acoustic like soul. It's a little bit, it reminds me a little bit of some of the Black Keys.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still a little, they don't get it. But I would say
What makes them good is that they're these two guys in the Pumas, man. They just wouldn't be. They just don't look compatible at all. But
Right.
together is what makes it so tight, man. That it's like Boyd when he was flexed, man. He had the like fishnet shirts on and stuff. And
Right.
everybody else got like go college, go Michigan or something. But those contrasts is what made it so good.
right. And that's really you have a great comparison I didn't even think of is with DMB you have Carter has his little jersey on. Stefan looks like he could have been a bassist for Linkin Park.
Yeah.
Shout out to Phoenix, the bassist of Linkin Park. Dave looks like he was just like a frat brother in pajamas, just chilling. He was like a college that just always wore pajamas to class.
I felt like Roy was like the adult.
Yeah, Roy was like somebody who should have been in a jazz band who just decided. So yeah, you're right. What made DMB so great is you had these people, they were literally from different worlds. Dave was a bartender. Stefan was a high school bass player. You had he's a military brat. I don't know if you know that. Maybe not by travel, but a lot of his family was in the military. So he's kind of like obviously Virginia. His origins are in Virginia, and then Leroy was playing with a bunch of different jazz bands and with Carter, who was in more jazz and funk bands. So, and Boyd was always in his own world, like you said, when he dresses. So Black Pumas do resemble that. But now what I'll say is I think
Diversity.
the diversity.
They were very diverse. Yeah.
Right. Now I would say a song like Save Me could be a song that the Black Pumas come on. Now, I just say that because it's more of a soulful song. With Jimmy Thing, I think the biggest thing is Jimmy Thing is a song for soloists. Not that they can't solo, but I think if they come on a DMB song, they're going to want their vocals. They're going to want them to be able to sing a part or to groove to a part, like maybe it's dancing.
Every day.
Right. So it could be something like Every Day. That's another good one. But I think I'm looking at something like Save Me or something on that. Even like I don't know if Bayou fits them because Bayou, again, there's not that vocal part. Like Save Me, that I can see them coming on Save Me and singing a verse or I try saving myself, whatever that thing is. I think that's where they're gonna go. They could now. I hope it doesn't happen. They could do Can't Stop because again, it's more of a soulful type thing. And Gary Clark Jr., who they remind me of as well. Gary Clark Jr. did play on Can't Stop before. They could also do Watchtower. I hope again.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Rudolph.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
Watchtower.
soloing on that and the singing of that song, the soulfulness, making a soulful Watchtower with some electric guitar outside of Tim from some of those guys.
Yeah, that would be good.
But yeah, and then the other thing is the Black Pumas again. Dave and Tim are playing a festival with them here in Connecticut. Sound on Sound.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that.
Are they like the same day?
Yeah.
All the same day.
So
Same
with
time or something.
so they're the same day, and
They have the chance to play with each other. Then is what you're saying?
yes,
'Cause
yeah,
time-
there is a chance. Now, for all we know, they could go fly off to their next, but I mean, they have performed at a festival. The first time they really were together was at a festival, and they did that little. Dave came on with them. Now, the other thing with that festival, just to bring that up, the Sunday that Dave is playing, Brandy Carlisle is going to be. She's billed as the highest person before Dave and Tim. We have the Black Pumas, who will be that same day. They have Gary Clark Jr. that same day. And the opener I saw in Hartford in 2013, The Head and the Heart, will be the same day. So you have a lot of people who have been on stage with Dave Matthews before. Brandy, the Black Pumas, Gary Clark Jr., Head and the Heart. They've shared some sort of stage or backstage with Dave before. And any of those people could come up with Dave and Tim. Again, it's not full band, but Dave and Tim. So Ron, what shows are you going to?
Oh, right now I'm just trying to get this camera on, man. I think I almost found it. No, yeah, I'm taking my family, man. We're gonna take my kids for the first time.
Now, is that the Gorge?
Yeah, to the Gorge this year.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, are you going to go back to Colorado at all for those Fiddler shows, or?
No, it's done here.
Okay.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Gorge, man. Just to get my kids to go.
Right.
Because then I don't have to take them again. I can have fun the rest of it. I'm just being mean.
But it's a great place to take your kids and to give them the experience of what DMB is about without some of the stuff that you'll see at other venues. Like there's still crazy stuff that goes on at the Gorge, but there are families. There's a lot of families that I see there, and you can put them all on the lawn. You don't have to be like in physical seats. Just let everyone lay out on the lawn and have a good time. It's laid back.
Exactly.
So that's a good thing. Now, are there any songs that you want to go away for 2022?
Never. And I also don't have a bathroom break song either. I think that's just bull crap.
Okay, so you love every song.
I lost you.
So you love every song. There's no bathroom break.
I satellite 300 times, man. Here I am.
Yeah, that's not the case with me. But what's interesting is there's certain acts, like for John Mayer, for example, there's songs I'm not huge fans of, but there's more songs that I like. Like with John Mayer, there's not really a song I will walk away from at a show. But at the same time, there's no other band that makes me as excited as Dave Matthews Band. The best of Dave Matthews Band of any given show is better than any other act. Even as I look back behind me, Allman Brothers Band, Billy Joel, Stevie Wonder, the greatest feeling I've had at concerts, they've all been like Dave Matthews Band is the best.
Okay.
And Stevie Wonder is my idol. I don't want to say idol. I don't have idols. I think idols is the thing. But Stevie Wonder is my favorite musician of all time. The concert I went to with Stevie will be in a different category. But as far as my favorite moments at a concert, it's Dave Matthews Band. So I kind of have that crazy extreme where there's been times I've literally walked out during, actually almost every time, Jimmy thing is when I go to the bathroom. But at the same time, Dave Matthews Band is the best thing that I've ever, music-wise, it's the best.
Yeah.
So
yeah, man, here's the thing, like I was in the military for a while, so I didn't really like get to hit up many concerts, in my 20s and 30s. I didn't even start really going to concerts till I was in my 40s because I was busy. You know what I'm saying? So that,
right. I saw your picture with
whatever song I get, I'm just okay. This is better than getting yelled at.
We've said before on here, we thank you for your service. And I saw the picture. You've posted a couple pictures over the years on Twitter from your military service with Chuck Liddell I've
Oh
seen
yeah.
you post that a couple of times, and you've posted some other stuff. So that makes sense, and that's a great perspective because, as you just said, there's been times where you were not able to go to concerts. You had to serve your country. You had a contract to say, nope, we go here, Kosovo, right, Kuwait. And actually, one of my a family friend, family friend Sarge, I meant his son like was a ment. He grew up with me in the. I was like, I remember he was born. He's now in the service. He's 19, right? So
Mm.
he's going to Kosovo. Then he's back for a couple of weeks, and he's going back out to the Balkans again. So he's kind of in that part of his life, like how you just said you were, where he comes home, he has this little time off, and he's back out. So it's an interesting dynamic and puts things in perspective because most people are able just to do what they want, but when you're serving the country, as you said, you don't get to experience things. So when you come back, you don't want to miss a moment of a D&B show because it's something you couldn't access for a certain time. So
Yeah, I mean, there's many other veterans. I ain't the only one. You know what I'm saying?
oh no,
I'm not
we know this, but again, we are
Yeah,
grateful
but
for
you know what I'm saying?
everyone.
I don't really, when I talk about it, it's more in a celebratory way, not a depression or, you know what I mean? I have a good
Sure.
spirit, man. So it's all nothing but good times for me. But I appreciate those words, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get to, I'm not using it as an excuse. It's just what it is,
Right.
man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, yeah, no, oh yeah, and I'll
So
say
like
that
my first gorge trip was 2018. I was 38. My
oh
first
wow.
concert, I was, I had to sneak off base, man, and drive to Pennsylvania from
Oh wow.
Colorado.
What?
Yeah, man,
Wow,
I was gone
that's like
for,
a cross
I was gone
country.
for like, yeah, dude, I was gone for 4 days, man. It was like a day and a half of driving, the concert, a day and a half back.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
dedication, but that's awesome.
That was right after a deployment, and that's as close as it was Pennsylvania. And I was like, oh, I know some people in Pennsylvania. I'll call them on the way. It's all good. I was like, I got
That's
tickets
awesome.
at the gate. You know what I'm saying? Like we all got tickets at the same time.
That's awesome. All right, we're gonna take
Yeah.
we're gonna bring on
Cool.
Justin, Ron. But I just want to say before we
Yeah,
let you go, thank you so much for being on. Thank you. If you guys are on Twitter, Ron from Colorado, his Twitter
I'll
handle.
stick around, man. I'm still listening. I'm still listening. But I'm
Typical
gonna jump
times.
off.
I'm gonna pull up here. This is typical times, and he has some great insight, some awesome guitar playing. I love you. I love that PRS that you have.
Dude, isn't it pretty, man?
Yeah,
It's so
and
pretty.
that's actually with my dive into Fish recently. My next guitar will probably be a PRS, and it looks like you have an Ovation. Is that an Ovation too?
Yeah, that's an Ovation,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, but that PRS, we got your profile up. That PRS looks.
There they go.
Sick.
That's Dave. Dave's the acoustic.
Yeah.
Tim is that
the
on
middle
the right there, that PRS on the right.
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go.
And that's me on the blue one there, and then we get busy.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll definitely be bringing you back on this summer. We want to hear your comments and thoughts. But you have a good night.
Maybe I get this camera to work, man.
Yeah. You gotta work on that camera. All right. You take care.
Bye, man.
All right, Justin, you are on the air.
Well, I want to say thank you to Ron as well for your service. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
We hear them.
Can you hear crickets? Don't know how sensitive the mic is. Yeah, we have crickets here in Arizona in the summer.
Oh wow. What part of Arizona are you in?
Phoenix area.
Oh, you're in. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's just starting to heat up. We're just getting to the fun part.
Gotcha. My first time in Arizona was 2003. It was a Las Vegas trip. My parents, who don't gamble, allegedly brought me to Vegas, and we drove to the Hoover Dam, and we went into northern Arizona. So, but it was still like 115 degrees.
Yeah.
It was like above average, but the heat, it's dry heat, but I know that. And then my mother used to have clients before the pandemic. She had direct reports that people reported to her. She would go to Phoenix quarterly, and that summertime visit, she said like the pools were drained because it was so hot that you couldn't have your pool. Like it didn't make sense, like the chemicals and all that. Apparently, I don't know if that's true, but like people were draining their pools because it was so hot.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
it was either last summer or the one before, where even for Phoenicians, it was extraordinarily hot. Because for us, 90s is just warming up. When you get into the hundreds, okay, sort of par for the course. But again, it was either last year or the year before, where it was 110 plus for about like 40 days, I want to say.
wow.
You wouldn't think, 10 degrees makes much of a difference, but it does. I mean, it's ungodly hot at that point. There's no difference. You hit 110, 111, 12, whatever, you're boiling. Yeah, the running joke of all time is the dry heat, but I'm from Ohio, so I know humidity heat,
Right.
and I'll take dry heat any day. It's not, in a perfect world, sure, I'd love to live in like San Diego or Hawaii or something where it's, like 75 all year. But of the two, I'll take your dry heat. That's just me. So versus 90 degrees in Ohio, 95% humidity, you're sticky,
Right.
You're in the shower, you come out, you're still wet. Mosquitoes, all that. So here it's the thing with their Phoenix shows is they tend to come when it's still really hot here, which is, and their tour schedule is kind of wonky with Phoenix. They're really hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like in the early 2000s, they came fairly regularly. And then they kind of just dropped off where I would always have to go to either like one year I did like the Chula and the Irvine thing. Last year I did the Fiddler shows. I did New Mexico because they're usually not right here, so, or you could do like Tahoe, something in that Southwest area. So we kind of have to get creative here. I did the Gorge when I was living in Portland, but obviously that makes more sense. You're pretty close. So it kind of sucks. I'm pretty diehard, but yeah, down here, as you said, we don't have a fan base whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
In large part, I think just because Phoenix as a whole is so transplant based.
Right. Yep.
We suffer the same problem with our sports, right? Where you go to a Cardinals game or a Diamondbacks game and it's all, Dodgers fans, or if it's the Packers fan, we have people that, people generally don't move west to east. It's the other way around. They come from those cold climates to places like Phoenix and maintain those fan base loyalties to their sports. So that's frustrating because I root for like the Bengals and the Reds, but I've taken on my home teams. That's first because I live here. Just my dad brought me that way. And that's hard. You go to sporting events and it's like you're shouted out by opposing fans. It's like an away game.
I remember that pack, and actually my colleagues that I work with that are from Massachusetts and they're in Phoenix, I remember that Packers game on Monday Night Football. I think it was last year, where it was pretty much all those people from the Midwest, from Wisconsin.
It was a Green Bay game.
They that lived there or were flying out there. Real quick, Amy, is it humid? It's not humid, but what happens because I can speak from Vegas. What happens in Phoenix is worse than Vegas, but in Vegas and Phoenix, because there's so much concrete, it does not, the heat stays it doesn't cool down.
Yeah.
There's
night,
so big cities.
There's no release. It's at night. It's like a convection oven. So you don't get to chill at night. Literally 10, 11 o'clock at night in the summer, it's still 100 plus degrees.
Yeah. Amy, I don't know if you've been to Houston, Amy, but it's the same thing in Houston, but with humidity. Houston, Phoenix, Las Vegas, some of these big cities, because there's so much concrete, there's so much highway, and they took the natural vegetation or whatever out. the heat literally just stays there overnight and there's no cooling, which is, I could talk about that all day because I love climates and all that. Now with as far as your hopes and dreams for this tour, Justin, what do you think if you had to make a prediction, what do you think the opener is going to be for this tour in Austin? Hello, Justin.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say I'm going to say what I want it to be. We'll just say is the same as what it should be. It's wishful thinking. Song you've talked about 1,000 times, which is easily in my top 5, if not my top 3, just best songs ever in my opinion, is The Stone.
Yeah.
I won't belabor the point as to why that's such an amazing song, let alone a great opener. They knocked it out of the park with that song. To me, that's easily one of their best songs ever.
Yeah.
Of all time. The way that builds, I don't think you can have a better opener. So I would say if it had been like years off, something like, have they done like Hello Again? Because to me, the title is perfect, right? Like Hello Again, we're back. That would be cool. If it was like after the pandemic, I thought like that tour year after, like Hello Again, we're back would have been cool.
So actually, if you go back to the streams from this time last year, I was against Hello Again, not because of the words of this title, but the song has nothing to do with being back. But there was a huge push by the fan base for Hello Again to open up Raleigh.
Yeah, I don't think it's all that great of a song personally. I just purely from a standpoint of
the irony of it,
from a poetic, like linguistic standpoint, I think it works. So I think like openers, The Stone, One Sweet World, something that's theatrical, that builds, it gives you a flavor of what's going to come later. I don't like those. A lot of times they just will do a throwaway as an opener, like, okay, we're just, like you said, letting people settle into their seats. I like to start it out, really strong from the beginning, and then bookend that with like a solid closer. So like Don't Drink the Water, I don't know. To me, that's a great one. It's just overplayed, but it's a perfect opener because of the power. Right away, it blasts you. Forget the fact that they've sped it up too much, but anyway, I'd love to see something like Dream So Real. I've never seen that live.
Yeah.
Or Shotgun. I like the deep cuts. I like your Crazy Easy that they did. I've heard that live track from, I think, Alpine they did.
Yep, 2004.
Which again, I'm the guy that's always saying in the chat, like the violin songs like that, where you got that violin part there in the chorus.
Oh yeah.
Some of those songs you really got to have that violin sound to hit it. But I was at that Hollywood Bowl show in 2018, which was cool, where they had that orchestra.
Yes. What was that like to have the orchestra when in a year where there was no Boyd?
Yeah, it was like this kind of like your string fix, honestly, I thought it was substandard, and my expectations, I'm a fan. It's like Dave says, we'll play what we want. He's not there to appease me, but I was, you had Here On Out, you had, what's the Batson one that's like 2 minutes long where he comes out on the keyboard? The Mark Batson.
When I'm Weary. They played.
Yeah, he had that. They did all the Come Tomorrow stuff with the string orchestra. So it was just kind of, I felt like they could have done more with it. You know what I mean? That would have been cool to use them.
I agree.
Like the Metallica when they did with the whatever that concert was, like use them for some of that like dramatic stuff.
So I thought this should have never been a live release. I thought
it
sounded great.
I thought it was a poor live release.
Yeah, it sounded great, like the actual audio, and obviously it's the Hollywood Bowl. It's a great sounding venue, but this was actually the worst Hollywood Bowl show that I've seen on paper. Now I've listened to some of the Hollywood Bowl shows, the taper versions of them, but like the reason, like I thought this was a horrible choice, even though again, you being at that show, I think that's a special show to attend. but for a live release, it did not have any deep cuts at all.
No,
Really.
the set list is really weak.
Yeah. And
It's it was,
it had it was like even there's a
was it?
write-up
Didn't they
for
open with? Wasn't it One Sweet World opener,
yeah. So they
which was
had
cool?
that One Sweet World, That Girl Is You, number 41. After that, I mean, after One Sweet World, number 41, what else do you
It's all it's Come Tomorrow and
Mhm.
just real surface level, like your
Right.
standards. Just nothing really hit home. It wasn't. And I was disappointed because you think Hollywood Bowl, it's going to be epic. Like you said, he's
Right.
going to go all out. There's shows like at the DMB, they know, okay, this is a huge venue. We're
Right.
going to make it special. And it was like seeing a show in Phoenix where they just kind of play just like it's like a B show.
Right. I think what they did was they were trying to promote the album, but even so, like even in other years, and I there's a show, if you look on my YouTube channel, I went through every single Hollywood Bowl show that ever exists, setlist wise.
When did
And
they
like
start going there?
so they started going to the Hollywood Bowl in 2006. So 06 they had one show. 2007 they had two shows, one of them John Mayer and Damian Marley guested. 2010 they had one show, 2012 they had one show, and then 2018 they had one show. And this year they have two.
Yeah, I bet it'll be better with the two. You'll get the Saturday show will be better. I bet.
They can't have, it's impossible for them to have two mediocre shows with all the songs they have to play. And the other thing is, one of the key signs why people thought an album's coming out this year, in 2012 they had a show there and Away from the World came out. 2018 they had a show there, Come Tomorrow came out, and then now 2022 people are expecting an album to come out because there's two shows there. So that there's a speculation. People were kind of tying that this was going to be the year an album comes out, because the last two albums were literally the last two times they played the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, even if they don't have the album this year, I bet night 2 of the Hollywood Bowl this year will be solid. I wish I was going. I bet that'll be better. Any other 2-night stands, like you said, almost guaranteed that second night is going to be solid. That's why places like, one hit wonders like me this year, a couple of us that are just doing a single show this year, it's especially, when your one show is Phoenix, and I'll wrap it up with that, is like, it's one show and it's in Phoenix. It's like, you're not going to probably get, somebody like me who's pretty, quote unquote hardcore. You really are going to have to get lucky to get something, like you said, those so-called deep cuts, because you just feel like it's going to be just your average show. But I don't know, every once in a while, they'll pull out something cool at one of those one-stop shows. So you never know.
Yep. And Amy in the chat, she's from Iowa. Des Moines, Iowa was one of those shows where they decided to, hey, we're going to, like, in the middle of the week in Iowa, we're going to put on a heck of a show. And that was in, I believe, 2018. Was it 18 or 19? I'm trying to look it up now. But you're absolutely right. And I think the great thing about you being on, Justin, is you represent a part of the fan base that comes from a part of the country that has a lot of diehard fans, and you've relocated to a part of the country that has a lot of transplants. But when DMB comes to town, now you could get something special, but DMB is going to look at the Phoenix show and say, okay, we have to kind of put something in for the casual fan. And I've seen, so you're in Arizona. I know people that have moved to South Carolina, to Florida, to Texas, that aren't from those parts of the country, but they're now going from, they all, just like you, they came from huge, close to big venues. Now they're in another part of the country where everything else about their life is great, but when they go to see DMB, they don't know what they're going to get. So it's an interesting, even just beyond music, I think it's an interesting thing as far as how people are moving the population. People are shifting and moving to different parts of the country. and now their sports, like you said, and their music is a little bit different.
Last question. Being from Ohio, I've never seen their Ohio shows. How are their River Bend and what is it? Is it Blossom, Cuyahoga? Like, it seems like those shows have been solid, right? In the past.
So yes, Riverbend has been
River Bend was a live tracks, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's known to have, like, at some point about 5-10 years ago, it had Halloween, like, was just played there, just like it was just known Riverbend was going to get it. Blossom in Cuyahoga County outside of Cleveland, that venue was that venue gets some good shows just like last year. In Columbus, Ohio,
Yeah,
in 2018,
you get the Ohio State crowd and all that.
In 2018 and 2021, they had great shows. In 2018, they were at the Scotch and Shine Center
Where the basketball.
Yeah, for where the Ohio State University and hockey, the basketball and hockey, those are the big two sports there. And then they went back to Nationwide Arena, whatever it's called now. Maybe it's still Nationwide Arena. They went back there in 2021, and both of those shows were fall tour shows that really told people this fall tour is not going to be like the summer tour. You had in 2018, you had Columbus when they went to they had You Never Know open in Columbus. They had Kill the King.
That's another one I would add to the list. I think that's a good opener too.
They played Sleep to Dream Her. I know you put that in the chat. They played that. It was Liberated in 2018. First time it had been played since 2013. And they played Break Free, which somehow it was a tour debut. Break Free hadn't been played since 2016. Oh yeah, I forgot. 2016 they actually brought back Break Free. But really, I mean, Break Free in 2018 was a big thing. It's only been played, I think, Break Free it's only been played 31 times, and most of them were 06. So the Columbus shows 2018 and then 2021 were landmark shows to say, hey, the fall tour doesn't have as much demand. The tickets are cheaper, but if you show up to these shows, the band is going to play a more deep cut set. So last year, they got Broken Things, first Broken Things since 2013. The first Dive In since 2016, and Madman's Eyes debuted in Columbus at Nationwide Arena. So those indoor shows in Columbus are just amazing, like spectacular. And we have Kaju Basement Tony C. He went the next night in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He went to both of them. He went to Columbus and Grand Rapids and was on. He actually came on. We called him after the show, and he kind of shared his thoughts on the show. So,
thanks for having me on, Marcus.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on, Justin, and we love your humor in the chat. We love your humor in the chat. So, you have a good one. All right. So, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Ron from Colorado. Great to talk to you guys. I could talk to some of you guys all day and all night. Let me go back up to Kermit the Prague. He says, what are we talking about this evening? Kermit the Prague, you are at Mayor. You just got out of John Mayer. That's awesome. Hey, Kermit the Prague, are you still on? If you're still on, I want to know how the sound was. I went to what's it called? UBS Arena. I was there for a hockey game this January, and the acoustics, doing some research on the venue. The venue is supposed to have amazing acoustics. Like, they built that arena to have some of the best acoustics for an arena concert that you're going to get. It's not a performing arts center. It's an arena for hockey. But let me know if you're still on. Let's see that set list. Here, we're going to remove Justin off there. What was the John Mayer? And hey, Kermit the Frog, there's some D&B fans at this show. So we have Trish. I'm gonna try to do a show Monday or Tuesday. I want to try to get Trish on because she is a diehard D&B fan and Coldplay fan. Oh, they played Walt Grace. Oh my gosh. She in the midst of like being denied warehouse tickets, right? So Trish is just she's a D&B super fan. She goes to everything. Mexico Gorge, been to tons of shows. Any big show, she's probably there. Now she went to John Mayer in Tampa and like fell in love with John Mayer. The reason she went to John Mayer is because she was frustrated with the warehouse ticketing process. Like she got denied for a lot of stuff. She's been a long time fan. She knows that there's certain things you're going to be denied for, but she got denied worse than she'd ever been denied for stuff. So she said, look, I'm going to actually take this anger, turn it into a positive thing. And everyone's telling me that John Mayer is so great. She started listening to John Mayer, went to a show in Tampa, didn't know the music, but like said, this was like awesome. So she just flew up to New York City from Florida for this show. We have her there. We have our friend Ruth, who's from Connecticut, who's there. And then there's another D&B fan that Trish is with. I'm trying to see if we can. She's with another great D&B. What's the handle? She says Wild Blue, the favorite. Jenny D&B. Shout out to Jenny D&B. And they got a picture of Ruth is there. Oh, look at everyone. Stressica D&B. Oh, it's great to see everyone out there. It's great to see everyone. I gotta say the D&B. Some of you guys on Instagram, on YouTube, Amy, we love you, Amy. Amy, are you a mother? Oh, you're a great grandma. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Amy, if you're still on, happy Mother's Day. I hope you have a wonderful day. I know you're a great grandma now, and that is awesome. And we just want to wish you a happy Mother's Day. All the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for all you do for your children, whether they're your biological children, whether you've adopted them, whether you're a foster parent. One of my good friends, actually, she has been a mentor. She was my boss, but she's a foster mother up in Springfield. But I gotta say, those of you who are foster parents, I just respect the heck out of it. I am a mentor in my church. I did something today, but those of you guys who are foster parents and step parents and whatever type of parent you are, it is just really appreciate all of you, everyone. You don't necessarily have to have a child in the womb to be a mother. You can be a step parent. You can be a foster parent. You can have an adoption. And just to show you, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I am because it's my show. I can do whatever I want. You don't know the impact you have on somebody who is I guess you do know, but like I know some people that are adopted, and actually one of them, shout out to I know John Butchercross on ESPN, his adoptive parents, but especially his adopted mother. When you talk about the impact of adopting someone, he is probably the most known hockey personality, Sports Center personality on ESPN. But imagine his life without someone adopting him. He is one of the most successful people on ESPN right now. Does the hockey telecast. His ex-wife used to babysit me, so I know that I grew up with the family. In my 25 years ago, we all moved to this new development, right? He was just starting his career in ESPN because he just hit his 25-year mark. But anyway, I'll say that the impact of his adopted his parents. Those are his parents now. But his mother did not birth him. His who he calls his mother not birth him, right? But the impact you can have if you adopt is powerful, because again, he is one of the best person that I mean, he's my favorite person. I'm a little biased, but there is an impact to if you are a mother. Oh, so you're a mother, grandmother, and great grandmother, and that's awesome. And the beautiful thing, Amy, is the fact that you're able to see your a great grandchild. I think about being able to see my great grandmother in her last, it was really, I mean, listen, she's my great grandmother's like, but I had from middle school to late high school, I was able to spend precious time with my great grandmother. And then she passed freshman year of high school. I mean, freshman year of college, right? But that time with my great grandmother, to be able to have that gap of generations, but literally talk to somebody who was around in a time period that I was not, and to see the sacrifices she made. And I think that's the beautiful thing is your great grandchild will be able to ask you questions, to be able to see what you did to help your child and to help their parent, which is your grandchild, to now they are here. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I will be spending time with my grandmother and mother who are nearby tomorrow. Let's see, what did I miss? Yeah, so Tony C said, you said the shows rock last year. Yeah, he was just kind of confirming some of the great things that happened in those Ohio shows. And but you know what though? That's what makes DMB so cool, is that if you live in Saratoga Springs, New York, yes, you have the horse racing. But just to give you guys some context, Saratoga Springs is actually further from New York City than where I live in Connecticut. Like when you're that far upstate New York, it is easier for me in Connecticut to get to New York City. Oh, Justin, does my mom like DMB? She does not listen to Dave Matthews Band. Neither of my parents are DMB fans. My father, more than my mother, was into some like the R&B. Like my mom knew like Michael Jackson, all that stuff. But my dad, like if you look, well, I can't pan my camera over, but I have over like 70 vinyl records from my father. My father is still living, he's still well, but he doesn't listen to, like, actually I helped him get everything on his iPhone. I helped him get digital copies of Earth, Wind and Fire and Stevie Wonder, and I helped him to get, so he can get access to Apple Music, all that stuff. So he actually gave me his whole vinyl collection. I need to upgrade my turntable. That'll be something I'll be doing end of this year, beginning of next year. But so Tony C, you're bringing your parents to there. But just to get back on topic, or the topic I spun off on, there is what's cool about DMB. Saratoga Springs, New York, Hartford, Connecticut, right? Now, Deer Creek, even Indianapolis, right? Because you only have like the Pacers and the Colts, right? Even Alpine, right? The Gorge, right? The Gorge Amphitheater. Some of the best Dave Matthews Band concerts for the summer are in markets or regions that don't necessarily have a lot of other big stuff going on. They don't have all these big celebrity stuff. You don't have every comedy show stopping there. You may not have these big stadium tours. But when you can go to Saratoga Springs, New York, and go to SPAC, that's special that Dave Matthews Band has their Super Bowl demand-wise in Saratoga Springs, New York. It's not in, and this is not a knock, like if you live in these cities. It's not in Miami, Florida, or Houston, Texas, or Atlanta. It's in Saratoga Springs, New York. Deer Creek, again, is in the Indianapolis metro. Now, Indianapolis has Super Bowls, but people call it the most boring. People, I know someone who went to the Super Bowl when I worked at StubHub. They went to Indianapolis, but Indianapolis is known as one of the more boring stops for the Super Bowl. So the fact that you could be in certain markets that don't necessarily have the fanfare of an Atlanta or Houston or Dallas, even though those they DMB does go there, but some of the biggest cities in the country for DMB have casual sets, and some of the smallest cities in the country, or some of the more mid-level cities in the country, or some of the smallest towns, George Washington, right, or Quincy, Washington, whatever they want to call it. But technically it's in the city of George, I think, or I don't know. But where the Gorge is, they don't have anything else except concerts. And there's only a couple concerts a year, really. So that's what makes DMB special, is you can be in a market like where I am in Hartford, Connecticut, and we get it, even though it's only one show, it's a great show. And then we just had 2 shows in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun. Those were 2 big shows. Now, they weren't the biggest of the tour, but they were special. Lionel Graves closer. Like, it was some special stuff that we got. And that's something that's nice to be like, yes, I live in Connecticut. We lost the Whalers. We don't have much big things. A lot of people are leaving the state. But you know what? When DMB comes, it's special. Amy, that's awesome. Amy made a diary for the baby shower. Oh, you made her a diary. And I think, Amy, what I will say is, if you're able to record videos or write down some of the things in your life for your great-grandchildren, one of the things I've done is I've written down stories. I have stories in my mind, in my memory, of what my grandparents talked about and some of what my great-grandparents. I actually had 3 or 4 great grandparents that were alive when I was, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I had 4 great grandparents alive when I was physically born. The 5th one, I mean, not the 5th one, but there was one when my mom was pregnant with me. My grandma, my dad's mother, so my grandmother on my dad's side, her father was getting sick and he passed away when my mom was pregnant with me, which is, I think it's special because even though the same year that my grandmother lost her father, she got her first grandson, which was me, and I'm her favorite. So it's a special thing because I know it was probably it was a tough, she's an only child and she loved her father. She was daddy's girl. But my grandmother's father passed away in the spring around this time of year, and then I was born in the fall. So she lost probably one of the most important man in her life outside of my grandfather. They're still married, but like the man who taught her everything as a kid lost him, and then I was born a couple months later, and again I was the first grandson. So anyway, don't get me going on these tangents. I'll talk about everything. Is that the ticket? It seems like all the shows are on the East Coast this year. You know what it is? It's not that they're on the East Coast, Amy. All the shows are in the Southeast. A lot of the show, well, they're always on the East Coast. What's shocking about this year is there are a lot of shows in the Southeast. There are 2 Jacksonville shows, 2 Charleston, South Carolina. There's 2 Florida shows earlier than normal. You have Huntsville, you have Brandon, Mississippi, you have the Texas shows that are back. The Texas shows were not there last year. A lot of issues just with Texas and shows and what the protocol DMB wanted. Even the Oklahoma shows were canceled. But yes, the tour is the East Coast, the Eastern time zone heavy. Eastern time zone dominant. It's just that's just how it is. Um, oh, they didn't play I Don't Trust Myself with Loving You. Omaha. Talking about Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know what you're saying. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for this tour. I think one of the things too is the band may reevaluate all the Southern tour shows, tour stops, because I think what they're gonna find is while there are a lot of DMB fans that are retiring or close to retirement that are moving down south, moving to Phoenix. Although Phoenix, I think, is a great show because it's only one show there. They're not pounding the southwest portion of the country heavy. But I think the southeast has too many shows. Where like Jacksonville has 2 shows, Charleston has 2 shows. So Atlanta only has 1 show, but still, when you have all these other shows, there's an overabundance of southeastern tour stops. And I think next year they may cut it back a little bit. They may cut it back just a little bit there. One thing I didn't talk about, Liberations. I really don't know what's going to be Liberated. I really hope that you get a Dave solo song, Liberated. I would love to see like a Trouble. Like now, Liberated, I'm talking about the full band. Dave and Tim has played it, Trouble, they've played, but I would love a Dodo or Trouble or And Another Thing. Oh, so you wrote about, that's awesome, Amy. So you wrote about music, especially DMB. And that'll be cool because that's something that your great grandchildren and your grandchildren will be able to take down, and then they'll pass that down to their children and their grandchildren, their great grandchildren, and that's awesome. I know you said I don't think you had seen any of you. Oh, you never saw any of your grandmothers. I'm so sorry, Amy. But the beauty is now you're able to see. On the flip side, you're able to see your grandchildren and your great grandchildren, and I think that's what life's about. Is being able to get there, being able to do to help generationally make the changes. Oh, in your Stones, okay. Rolling Stones, yes, yes. I don't know if you were on here, Amy. One of my friends, I was actually on his radio show. His dad was a roadie with the Stones, and I don't know if I showed you this. I'm gonna try to find this. Let me find this page. But the Stones, he actually knows like the whole band. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Dave. So I don't did I show you this, Amy? So this is my friend. Like this is my friend Dave on the far left. He's actually met Dave Matthews. He used to work at an upscale restaurant in Hartford, and he met Dave there. But his name is Dave. But I mean, that's his dad to the right, and that's obviously one of the most legendary musicians of all time, right there in the middle. But he has some. Let's see if I can find it. This is my friend. Now, my friend is a year younger than me. This is my friend on stage for the Rolling Stones. I think this was in 90. Yeah, this is in 1994. So he was 3 years old. I was 4. So that's my friend. His father is off. I love his dad. His dad has tons of stories. And but his dad knows members of the Who, members of the Rolling Stones, some members of some other bands that are a little bit smaller. He knows a lot of different people still in the industry. Some of these are stage managers. and other powers that be. But he knew Charlie Watts. I mean, he typically his dad goes backstage once a year, and sometimes he'll join his dad. So they'll go to Stones, see if we can find it. And we've been to shows as well. We've been to some Dead and Company. We've been to D&B shows. And he's actually a really great guitar player as well. Oh, they haven't been to home. Oh, so Kermit the Frog. What we were saying is for John Mayer, that walk, I really want to hear that walk. Great. Thank you for taping, by the way. But what we were saying, Kermit the Frog, I don't know if you're on Instagram, but there's a fan, Trish. She goes by Trish DMB. She was at the show tonight, and she was a little frustrated because of the warehouse lottery. Now she knows she gets, like, obviously you're probably going to be denied for SPAC, but she really got like a tough deal through the warehouse this year. So the anger of her Dave Matthews frustration, she ended up saying, look, I'm going to focus that and I'm going to start listening to John Mayer. And I may go to a show in 2022. And she was at the show tonight, Kermit the Frog. She flew from Florida to New York to see him here. She went to Tampa. That's closer to where she is earlier in the tour. And her next stop will be D&B in Austin. So Trish D&B was at the show. She had some nice seats here. I love that they played Edge of Desire tonight. I love that song. And Walt Grace. Kermit the Frog, how did the audio sound? Not your taper audio, but how did the audio, like you in the stands? If you're still here, how did it sound at UBS Bank Arena? Because I think it's for hockey this year when I went for the first time, it sounded amazing. This is awesome. Hold on, I gotta. This song is amazing. Hold on, let me pause this. This song is amazing. It was a really fun show. I'm gonna be putting tape up in about 2 hours. I was down on the floor. I was actually blown away with how good the room sounds. It's not nearly as boomy. Now, Kermit the Frog, I know you've been in and out. And first of all, thank you for taping. We appreciate our tapers here on the Concert Viz 34 Saturday night stream, the Wednesday night stream, no matter what we're doing. But what I will say is this venue, I went to it for hockey, like I said. I read up on this venue before it was even completed. One of the big selling points to the community was this venue was supposed to be great for sound. My friend, who's a D&B fan, one of my boy Nikki G, who's a friend of the show, he saw the Eagles here, their tour a couple weeks ago. And but this venue was really, it was supposed, like, the whole idea was we're going to make the best arena that's really made for hockey and basketball and other stuff, but we're still going to make this the best multi-purpose arena for a concert of this size. So you can go to a theater, you could go to a performing arts center. It's going to sound great because that's what it's made for. But we're going to take this arena and we're going to make it to be the best sounding arena in the world. Now, again, I haven't been to every arena in the world. There's some great arenas like the O2 in London that are known for their sound. But that's what I heard, is that's what went into this venue. Like millions of dollars were put into including that. So I'm glad that you thought it was awesome. I know you're obviously a taper, so you know your audio, you know your sound. Said not as boomy, and that's awesome that it did sound great. You were on the floor. Trish was too. Oh, Edge of Desire. Slow dancing. Kermit the Frog, I do miss his Fender Strats. He did play a Corey Wong Fender Strat, and I think that was Philadelphia. But I really miss John playing the that black one Fender Strat. That's the one that he plays for he was playing for Gravity. I miss that. The bite on his Fender Strat for Gravity, the black one, that one is awesome. And it's just not there. He's been playing. So John has a contract with, if you guys don't know, if you guys aren't John Mayer fans, he used to have his Fender Strat, but he signed a contract with PRS. Paul Reed Smith is guitar company. Great company. Most of the guitars are made with such high quality. And some of them for $1,000 to $1,500, you can get a really good sounding guitar from them, but they have $10,000 guitars. Oh, good question here. What's my favorite post-concert food? Pizza. And here's why. What I love to do, and this has worked at the Gorge, it's worked in New Hampshire, it's worked in Connecticut, it's worked in New York City. When I go to concerts, before the show, I try to get my fluids in the morning and midday. But then I try to stop drinking water and other stuff because I want not have to go to the bathroom. I also have a lot of grapes and bananas. And I strongly suggest this. I try to, like, during the day, like especially at the Gorge, I was having grapes, I had bananas, I was having fruits. Sometimes I throw in some vegetable like smoothies, or smoothies with a little vegetable, right? And then at the end of the night, right, I'm trying to have an empty stomach or a stomach full of fruits and, you know, all that type of stuff leading up to the show. At the end of the night, I chow down some pizza. Sometimes I'll come on the live stream and then I go right to sleep after the live stream. If I'm on the road for a concert. Because the pizza will it's always great. And what I'll do is, and Kermit the Frog, I'll get to that next because I have some feelings on the traffic there. But I love at the end of the night, because what I'll do is I'll buy the pizza before the show. Like, you guys remember when the Gorge, when they made that announcement for the Gorge that, you know, Carter and Stefan tested positive? I was actually in Wenatchee getting Pizza Hut pizza. And I don't care. Like, I was getting pizza when I found out that Carter and Stefan had COVID and they weren't going to be there. And there was an alternate format. Because what I do is I'll buy the pizza before the show. And then when I get back to I'll have a piece, maybe a piece. And then when I get back to the hotel room or I get back home, I just chow down on the pizza. Fast food. See, the thing is, and this is what I do, and this is a travel hack. For the concert portion, like Taco Bell, McDonald's, there's always a line depending on where you are after the show. Especially if you're like if you're in like, you know how there's like certain venues, there's a bunch of hotels X miles away from the venue and everyone's there. Like at the Gorge for Moses Lake, everyone goes to the McDonald's. So if you get pizza before the show, not only is it cheaper, you're getting more bang for your buck, but you can get it before the show and it still tastes good after. You don't have to worry about sitting in a long drive-through line. You go straight back. You can have like Taco Bell and McDonald's the next day or the next afternoon. But I love having pizza the day of the show. Kermit the Frog, are you in New York City? Are you in New York City? Because if you're already back from the show, it's midnight. You must be close. So this is the one thing about UBS Arena. UBS Arena is now I parked. They charge you $50. Now, the official lot that half mile away, I parked there. And here's why, Kermit the Frog. When I went to the Islanders game, and this game wasn't sold out. If you guys look on my stories, I'll show you, or my IG. Let me show you guys. Let me go back to my profile. When I went to this game, the game wasn't even sold out and the traffic still sucked. This was a Monday Martin Luther King Day game. This is the venue that I went to that the Kermit the Frog was at last night. Look at all those empty seats. This was in the middle of the game. Oh no, this was right before. Was this before Puck Jump? Look at all those empty seats. This was a Tuesday night game on Martin Luther King Day, and a lot of people were selling their tickets to this game because, you know, it's like everyone has to go back to work the next day. So this was a high. I got these tickets. By the way, these tickets were like half the price of what they really actually cost. So it looks like I'm living in luxury. No, I just know how to find a good deal. Right? But this venue wasn't even sold out, and a lot of people left early because, again, it was Martin Luther King night. And still, I was in traffic for like 30, 45 minutes in the lot that was a mile, like a half a mile away. So, oh, you live in Long Island. Yeah, the Long Island Railroad, right? 25 minutes, yeah. The thing is, but for me, if coming from Connecticut, it's just now. Listen, I get killed. The bridge, the Throgs Neck Bridge, I get destroyed because I've been to like 7 or 8 Islanders Flyers games. That's like my go-to for professional hockey games because I actually love going to Islanders games as a Flyers fan. I love the fans out there on Long Island. I love the Long Island folks. So shout out to you guys out there like Kermit the Frog. But oh, it was $50. See, when I went to this game, because this was like an NHL game, the concerts, I'm not shocked they charge more. But it was like $25 or $20, which is nothing if I was to go to the Rangers Flyers, it would easily be 30-something bucks to park. So easily. So 25 is not bad. Okay, so you live on Long Island. Yeah, when I was there, I had to drive back to Connecticut. So it was a little bit frustrating to have 25 minutes. And what I did is Kermit the Frog was this. I don't know if this was your first time there, Kermit the Frog, but it was my first time there. Obviously, it's a new rink. But January, when I went, I decided to park. I bought a parking pass before I even left. I bought it like a couple days before. And I said, I'm going to park in the far lot because you know what? Nobody's going to want to walk from that lot on purpose. They may shove people in because if like the closer lots sell out, and they're more expensive, but no one's going to park there on purpose. So I'm like, let me go to the lot that's right off the highway that's a quarter mile away. I walked from that lot there and back, and I actually like doing a little bit of a walk, but it took me, about 30 minutes to get out. And it's because there's just the way it's set up, there's only one way in and one way out. It's the highway. Most people aren't driving the local back roads unless you literally live in that town of Belmont. Even people like Kermit the Frog, to get back to where they are in Long Island, they got to take the expressway or parkway. Is that the Cross Island Parkway? I think that's the Cross Island. But I've driven to Long Island for a bunch of hockey games over the last decade. Like I said, about 7 or 8 of them. 3 of them were on Martin Luther King Day. They used to be in the morning or afternoon, but they moved this one to 7. I wasn't happy about that. Amy said, I just wanted my bed after the Gorge. When I'm at the Gorge, there's a there's an energy I get on the drive back, and then I do crash though. Once I was doing my post show stream from the gorge, I was out cold. Not gonna lie, I was out cold, but I love that drive back. I don't mind driving out of the gorge. 40 minutes feels like 15 minutes. It's just so there's no traffic. Once you get out of the gorge parking lot, it's just like open roads. There's a chain of cars, but especially to go to Moses Lake. The Wenatchee time that I went from one of the nights of my 6 nights of total gorge shows, it was kind of rougher. But there was some traffic pockets. But once you get out the gorge, it's easy. Wow, we're about to put this is one of my longest streams yet. Thank you guys for staying on. But yeah, this venue is hard to get out of, but it's such a great one. I'll have to figure out the train. Maybe I can park my car at a certain Long Island Railroad stop. The problem is, Kermit the Frog, if you're still listening, where I'm coming from, Connecticut, it's like you go over the Throgs Necks and the Belmont is right there. The old stadium or not the old, it's still there, but the Nassau Coliseum, you could it was a little bit further away. It was about another 20 minutes for me. So if I parked in like Belmont without a horse race, obviously they don't have the Belmont Stakes is once a year, but if I parked in Belmont and took the train to Nassau, it probably would have been not too bad. What does Kermit the Frog say? My opinion for the act size of DMB and John Mayer, USB is going to be the de facto NYC Metro Arena. It blows Barclays and new Nassau Coliseum and Prudential out of the water. Sounds better than MSG. I agree with just DM me if you're on Twitter or Instagram. Just hit me up after. I probably will be going to sleep, but I'll message you tomorrow morning. So I agree. And now here's the thing. For those of you in the New York City area, you may not get this. I haven't been to the Barclays Center yet. That's the only one. And I've been meaning to get there. But I've been to the Prudential Center. The Prudential Center to me, it's my least favorite one because it's over the George Washington Bridge and Newark is just, I don't think anyone likes Newark, right? So it's just like you have to go to Newark. Madison Square Garden is just a special arena. But you make a good point that for DMB and John Mayer, UBS is going to be de facto. Plus, it's, you have a lower bowl that has more seats. And it's accessible by car and train. So it'll be interesting to see. And this is going to be a battle because Madison Square Garden is still going to get stuff. Oh, Barclays suck. Oh, yeah. Because with the Barclays, I remember the big thing with the Barclays Center is the whole marketing on it was it's easy to get to via mass transit. That was the whole selling point, that they were going to have train access for everyone in the New York Metro, subway access, everyone in the New York Metro. That was the only way they were. Okay, so it has terrible sound. Yeah, the problem though is with the Barclays, it seemed like they really knew Brooklyn didn't have the space for a full-fledged arena, so they built a smaller arena than what it really should be for New York City. Plus, you had other venues. But the Barclays also, financially, they're like, you know what? It's expensive. We're not going to do it. It looks like, from what I saw from the hockey standpoint, the UBS arena was built right. They took their time. They thought of the fans. There's various things for the hockey part of it that represents that fan base. The only thing is, Kermit the Frog, I'd be interested in what you think about this. I have a friend who's from Long Island who lives in Connecticut, and we actually went to a preseason Islanders game. He is a lifelong fan. He worked in the pro shop for the Islanders. He knows like Doug Waits. He trained Doug Waits' kids. for rowing, and he feels priced out of the UBS Arena. The Islanders, the best thing I loved about them is no matter how much like you when I went to the the Barclays days are number, it's expensive. And actually the Nets lost like $100 million. The Nets have some problems, but that's a whole different, I don't want to go there. But what I love about, oh, it's okay, Amy. This is all New York City. But what I love about the Nassau Coliseum was clearly Long Island has various financial classes. You have your working class, you have your people that make really good money. They're your physical therapists, your lawyers, your doctors, your businessmen that go into the city. But you had what Nassau Coliseum, it didn't matter. Like people that like my friend, he had a pretty nice seat at the Coliseum. And next to him were people that made much more than he even made. Like, I mean, like it was everyone walked into that arena and they just were a hockey fan. They were a Long Islander, right? Unless you were like me with my Flyers gear. And the Nassau Coliseum was just for everybody. The UBS Arena, a lot of fans are priced out of the lower bowl because they got to, these season tickets went up. That's just how it is. Yankees, that happened. The Mets, it happened. I was talking the other day on Twitter about how they had to lower the prices for those. They had to lower the prices for the Yankees and Mets because people weren't paying the season ticket anyway. But my point is, I think that for the hockey part of it, there's a lot of fans on Long Island that were priced out of the lower bowl, and Islanders had a tough year for their first year. They beat the Flyers this game, but everyone beat the Flyers this year. I could beat the Flyers this year. But it's going to be interesting, and I know we're about to push 2 hours, 30 minutes, but the stuff that's going on in the New York City Metro and across the country, there's a lot of places that have two stadiums. Minneapolis and St. Paul, they have two stadiums, right? Dave Matthews Band did the night before at the XL Energy Center. Well, there's also the Target Center where Dave Matthews has done solo shows for Target corporate. So Minnesota, the Minneapolis, St. Paul, Twin Cities region has two arenas, right? In Phoenix, there's two arenas. In Glendale, you have the Gila River or whatever it's called. And you have where the Phoenix Suns play. It used to be America West. I can't remember what it is now. But you have two arenas. And there's a bunch of arenas in the last 15 years. You've had a couple arenas go up in New York City, and there's fighting for different spots. The Prudential Center and the Barclays Center seem like they're the losers. UBS Arena and Madison Square Garden is Madison Square Garden, but those are the winners. The new Nassau is sterile. Saw Fish there in fall 19, I think. It had zero, so honestly didn't sound good. I saw J. Cole there actually right after they renovated it. I did not see a hockey game there because they only played some of the games at Nassau. I refused to go to the Barclays Center for hockey. I know people I knew that went said it was horrible because that's how that was in Phoenix. Phoenix, when they played at America West Arena, they had to move it was like the scoreboard was at the blue line, but you saw Fish there. Kermit the Frog, did you go to any of the Fish shows? I went. My first Fish show was the Saturday show, the 23rd. Saturday, April 23rd was my first Fish show. The last show of that Madison Square Garden run, the Year's Eve YEMSG run. I loved it. I thought it was a great show. But you saw, one thing I did like though is that the new Nassau Coliseum, it doesn't have life. I agree. But I thought that they did a little bit better. So this thing right here, he said also MSG gets there together. The lease is up. New York State can tell them to relocate. Probably. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I've been hearing about this for years because the lease is going to be up. And technically, So if you guys don't live in New York City area, there's a whole train station below Madison Square Garden. That's why if you look at Madison Square Garden, it's just a huge, it's just like Madison Square Garden sticks out of the ground. A lot of arenas are like halfway in the ground, but Madison Square Garden is above ground because there's a train station below it. So the train station, the city of New York can tell Madison Square Garden, we can knock down this arena and upgrade Penn Station and just use the rest for Penn Station to expand. But it'll never happen because the shows at Madison Square Garden bring in millions of dollars for the hotels. I mean, Fish does four shows there. Oh, you did the late nights. So you did the late nights and got caught. Yeah, uh, a lot of people from Fish got, that Fish run got the 19. Sometimes I'm just glad but you know what though, Amy, it is. New York City is expensive. Now, I love going to New York City, but the traffic and the roads and like the train from Connecticut. So I'm in Connecticut, Southern Connecticut. I'll take a train in from one of the Southern Connecticut stops sometimes. Sometimes I'll drive in, but a train is like 30, 25, 30 bucks. Sometimes even 30, 40, depending on what train stop. To get a train in from Connecticut, it's expensive. It's like 20. I think it's like, what did I pay for that? I think I paid around 30 bucks. And then like just to get into the city. And really it's only like a 45-minute drive. Like if there was no traffic, it'd be like 45 minutes, depending on which train stop. I switch up my train stops. Yeah, New York City is great to visit, but there's also it's just some of the, obviously there's just like there's a trash everywhere, and there's people with mental health issues, and it's sad. You will see people with mental health issues do some crazy things. And listen, I, as someone who listen, like someone who knows people in my family with mental health issues and knows people who work in that field to help them, it's sad because there's certain people that they can't afford the help, or there's not enough room for them in certain programs where people who are less fortunate, and they end up in New York City because that's where you can kind of get attention and get money, and you can kind of get some things. But New York City is so I think this is what I think. New York City to live in. Now, it is inspiring. Like, I don't think I could live there. I could see myself doing like a special, like 15 or 20 day experience, right? Because my job will actually let me, for certain periods of time, I could actually like rent out an Airbnb in Montana and just work from there for 15 days or 20 days or 30 days if I wanted to. They're not going to pay for that Airbnb, and I'd have to pay for it. But as long as I have internet, I could like work there for a period of time. I would love to do something like that, but I don't think I could live there full time. And I know people who have lived in the city. I've talked to them from Connecticut, who are from my hometown, from my home state. I don't want to see the city. I want to see Dave Matthews Band. But that's the thing is, if you go to a show, I would recommend anyone go to a show. I personally think living in New York City, I just couldn't do it. The Long Island, Westchester County, if I could afford a house, I'd have to, well, obviously I'd have to see about my job or getting another job or salary. But outside of that factor, I would be intrigued. But the actual city, I don't think I could do that long term. I could do it for 15 days, and then like another thing people don't think about, there is no thermostat in your apartment. So like the heat, if you have an apartment in New York City, you don't control the heat. You can't say, hey, it's too cold, let me turn up the temperature. No. Whatever the building pumps out, the boiler room pumps out, that's what your building gets. Now you could you could get like space heaters, but if they're allowed in your apartment. But yeah, New York City it's a different thing. But there is inspiration. Um, I imagine being able to afford for a Long Island or Westchester housing price. Yeah. I'm sure. Hang in there, Kermit the Frog. That's what It's funny though. That friend I was telling you about, I think his parents relocated to Connecticut. A lot of people see Connecticut and they're like, "Wow, it's expensive." Now the shoreline is expensive, but his parents sold their house on Long Island, and but like we think of like the shoreline of Connecticut is like a very expensive, like even like a small cottage 3 blocks or a mile from the beach in certain towns are expensive. But they're coming from the tax rate in New York State and Long Island. They're coming from that all the way to Connecticut, and like Connecticut's like nothing. They're like, this is amazing. I'll take this house right here. Sold. So it's interesting to see people from Long Island, Westchester County, because some of the businesses like NBC Sports Network actually doesn't exist anymore, right? Yeah, they consolidated that. But NBC Sports Network used to have their studios in, I think it was in Stamford or Greenwich, Connecticut, because it was cheaper to operate in New York City, and people would live in Connecticut. It was cheaper to get a house. Not everywhere. There's like Greenwich, certain parts of Connecticut at the New York border are very expensive. But even so, some of the towns a little further in are cheaper than Westchester County. So, oh wow, it's 12:32. But I love talking this random type of stuff about demographics, where you live, city, cost of living, all that stuff. I'll probably stay in this part of the country. I think last stream I talked about, if I could, I would love to live in the Pacific Northwest, close to a Seattle, preferably not in the city. I listen, I'm sorry, I can't stand the city. Listen, Seattle, I went to a baseball game there. I went to the park. I don't think I could live in a Portland or Seattle, like the city. There's too many. It's too crazy out there. But the thing about Pacific Northwest, when you just drive like a little bit outside of the city center, there's some amazing areas in Oregon and Seattle. My friend is out I think he's in Bellevue or Redmond, somewhere out there. I went to his little he has a nice little gated community out there, and he's loving it. He moved out. Actually, my friend is from Long Island. My friend who's out in Seattle is from Long Island. And he came to Connecticut for grad school and then got a job out in with Microsoft out in Washington State. And he's in the Seattle Metro, but I couldn't live in the city out there. But I would love to retire. The problem is it's so expensive. So Amy knows a lot of people going to the first show. I'm excited for people to go to their first show, especially going to my first Fish show a couple weeks ago. It's exciting for me to experience that and then know some people are going to their first DMB show. Don't do it. Yeah, you got your Texas shows. You guys didn't get any last year. Now you get 3. What shows are you going to? Don't do it. It'll be interesting because just like John Mayer doing this MTS, or I keep calling it MTS, UBS Arena. That venue in Austin looks really cool. And again, that University of Texas donor money is going to good use for that new arena, multi-purpose arena for many concerts. UT basketball will be out there, as well as I'm sure some other sports will have some events in there. But Texas, for those of you who don't know, University of Texas has one of the largest, most powerful group of boosters for their sports programs. Meaning all these people that are alumni, all these people with a lot of money that are their alumni, they pay for a lot of the funding for the college sports. So they make donations and they pretty much can sit wherever they want. So like some of these boosters for Dave Matthews Band, because they donate so much money to the football program, to the athletics program at whole, They'll be like, hey, you guys want pit tickets? You want club seats for Dave Matthews Band? Here, they're free. Because these people, these boosters have donated millions of dollars to the school over generations. Why is driving so long? Yeah. And driving in the East Coast, see, it's interesting because driving in the Midwest and driving in the Pacific Northwest, in some ways it's more relaxing, but sometimes you got to pay attention because it's so calm. Driving in the Northeast, you always have these crazy cars zooming in and out and all these crazy turns and potholes that you kind of are forced to pay attention, but it's not as smooth. I like driving out in the Midwest and Pacific Northwest better. I haven't physically driven a car in the Midwest. I'll be doing that this June for Deer Creek, but I've actually driven around with people in the Midwest. Oh, the Woodlands for sure. May do Austin too, but if I could travel further, driving DMV, the Gorge is the spot. Yeah, the Gorge is the spot. So you're gonna go to Woodlands. That's north of Houston. Houston is huge. The city of Houston, the city limits of Houston. I've been down there for the rodeo. When I worked at StubHub, I was down for the Houston rodeo. Great food city, Houston. And I don't even like seafood, but I know the seafood's good there, but I had barbecue. I had the Mexican food. Everything was amazing in the city of Houston when I went down there for the rodeo. Oh my gosh. Food was amazing. And so many different cultures had their different types of food, the soul food and but first Austin, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully you get down to Austin. But the Woodlands will be a good show. That's gonna do it for me, folks. But just to let you know, my goal is to continue to have these post-show streams. This is just the off season is over. This is gonna be the last show. And then what we're gonna do Wednesday, we're gonna have after the show, I'm gonna be doing the stream because it'll be at the Moody Center. So 5/11/22 next Wednesday. This upcoming Wednesday, after the show, I will be there to do a live stream. We then have Friday, there'll be a stream. And then Saturday, I will have a stream. So next Saturday, I'll be on after Dallas. So I won't be on at 10 o'clock because it'll be 9 Central Time. But I will be on a little bit later. I want to see Dave Matthews Band. I definitely want to see them at Deer Creek and Alpine. I'll be crossing those off the list this year, Lord willing, and hopefully everyone is healthy and well for those shows from the band. So Deer Creek and Alpine are the last two major venues I want to see DMB at. And after that, I may try to go down south. I may try to go down to the West Coast. But Alpine and Deer Creek are the last two that I'm looking to check off here. I have plans to go to those shows, and I'm excited for them. That's really the last frontier of DMB grills. I know West Palm Beach is one of those that people look forward to, but I don't put it. I put Alpine, I put Gorge, Alpine, SPAC, and Deer Creek in their own little bubble up here. So I've already been to SPAC. I've already been to Gorge. Now Alpine and Deer Creek are the two that are those kind of just best of the best. I've seen them at Madison Square Garden. So it's really and now the other thing is I do want to see them in Charlottesville, but they haven't had a show there in a while. And this winter, I don't know if I'd be able to go. It really depends. So I do want to see them in Charlottesville. But SPAC is to me is a great place to see them. But yeah, let me say I gotta get off, man. I gotta get ready for Mother's Day. Get ready for church in the morning. Amen. Let the church say amen. And thank you guys for the support. Hit the like button. If everyone can hit the like button, please Share this with your friends. Tell a friend to come on. Post-show streams will be starting. Thank you guys for coming in the off season. I'm really overwhelmed with the support in the off season, meaning all these shows I've been doing when there's been literally no D&B concerts, some Dave and Tim, right, that we've had, and some private events. But thank you guys. Onward and upward, and I will see you guys. Well, I'll be you guys will see me, right? You guys will see me this Wednesday and for the rest of the tour after the shows. If I don't have a stream that night, expect it the next morning. But I'm trying to do every show that night. Thank you guys for the support. And it is time to go to Dave Matthews Band concert season. Have a wonderful night.
The start, I woke up, bang, too many ghosts in here, and I wonder, will we find peace anywhere? When you hold me, girl, it all falls far away, but only if I could always feel this way. Can't help but think that come on, let's take a ride. Come on, just you and me. Come on, let's make a break for it, baby. Let's make a place of our desire. Let's make a break for it, baby. Let's run while we can. We'll run while we can. TV's on, turn it on. There's too many lies in there. Makes me wonder, could we find the truth someday? And then you talk to me. You are the truth I need. I could walk through any door if I could always be this sure. Can't help but think that come on, let's take a ride. Come on, just you and me. Come on, let's make a break for it, baby. Let's make a life of our own design. Let's make a break for it, baby. Let's run while we can. Let's run while we can. Let's make a break for it, baby. Let's make a life of our own desire. Let's make a